Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's YFE NYC live chat. This is the first live chat that we're doing as a local group of young female entrepreneurs. So I'm so happy that you're here joining me today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marissa Vicario, and I am the founder of Marissa's Wellbeing and Health. I'm a healthy living expert, and I also and the city coordinator for the young female entrepreneurs in New York City. Today, I have a special guest on with me. She is someone who I'm a female entrepreneur that I respect tremendously. Her name is Selena Soo, and she is a business and publicity strategist who helps women entrepreneurs get known and stand out. She's the founder of S2 Group, and she loves helping female entrepreneurs, experts, and coaches build their platform, reach more people, and get more clients, whether it be through speaking opportunities, guest blogging, connecting with influencers, getting media, or publishing a book. Marie Forleo has called her a publicity and marketing genius, and editors from publications like Fortune and Glamour magazine have highly endorsed her work, saying that she is someone you want in your network. I first met Selena at a small dinner that she held in her apartment, and right then and there I knew that she was somebody that I could really respect and I could really learn something from. So as a master networker, I want to introduce to you Selena Soo.
So much, Marissa. That was the best introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome. Selena, I've been so impressed kind of watching you grow your business and network here in New York City and online. So I wanted to invite you on today to sort of find out from you firsthand how you do it. And hopefully you can offer some tips to the ladies here who are on the live stream, since networking both on and offline is what we are here to do. So first, I hope you can answer, why is cultivating relationships with influencers the fastest and most powerful way to help elevate your brand and grow your network?
Yeah. So I love that question. And just a little bit of more background on me. So I've only had my business for 1 year, but I've been able to accomplish a lot in terms of my own visibility and getting endorsements and getting really great clients. And it's because of what I'm going to share with people right now. So I don't want people to think, oh, like this is easy for Selena, it couldn't happen for me. The thing is, my business has only been around for 1 year. And a lot of these influencers are people that I've just met in the past year. So it definitely is doable. But to answer your question, why is getting endorsements from influencers the fastest way to kind of elevate your brand and build your business? I'll begin with a specific example. So let's say you have someone, we'll call her Jane, and she's looking for a health coach. And as you know, there's so many, awesome health coaches out there. There's so many different options. And she narrows it down to 2 people. Okay, and the first person, they have a website, it's nice, there's like a few testimonials, they've got a bio. And the second person, she actually doesn't really know that much about that person, there's not much online. But one thing that she does know is that person, the second person, is Oprah's health coach, right? And so even though the other person has spent all this time doing these other kind of marketing things, knowing that someone is Oprah's health coach or some kind of endorsed by an influencer, like that is the only thing the person needs to know. If the people, the 2 experts were charging the same amount of money, every single person would go with Oprah's health coach. So that's why having endorsements like that are so important. And I'm not saying that we all need Oprah to endorse us, but within our industry, there are certain people that are considered influential. And it's important to be connecting with those people and making sure that they're familiar with your work.
Those are great tips. I love that. And so true, too. So tell me how, I know that you have glowing testimonials from entrepreneurs like Marie Forleo and Danielle Laporte. How did you get those endorsements from these women just a month after growing your business or starting your business?
Yeah. So I think the key takeaway here is about, building your network before you need it. Another thing that people say is dig your well before you're thirsty. So even before I started my business, I was somebody who was just adding value to people. I was always connecting with people. And when you're someone who's a giver and you're just adding value to people's lives, they naturally want to reciprocate. And so when I launched my website, both of them were very excited to offer an endorsement. And I'll share a specific story with Danielle Laporte, just because I want everything to be very actionable and specific, rather than just generalizations. But Danielle is someone that I've known over, I don't know if it's like the past 10 years or the past 8 years, but we've like known each other. And she's someone I really admire. And so whenever there's an opportunity to help, I just kind of show up, and I'm that sort of person to her. And her book, The Fire Starter Sessions, came out last April. And we had talked about working together in some capacity, but things got so busy, and we didn't even end up having the conversation about it. But I remember her book party was coming up, and I reached out to her, and I was like, Danielle, have you reached out to the Oprah team yet? And would it be helpful for me to reach out to them? And she was like, yes, of course. And the thing is, I didn't really have, like a lot of connections at that magazine, but I just know that, I'm really good at pitching, and I'm really good at influencing. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I put together like this really amazing pitch that was just really powerful, and sent it to their team. And then I followed up by delivering a package. So I had her book, The Fire Starter Sessions, and I put it in this like brown bag that had like fire paper bursting out. And I had these chocolate fire bars and fire star tattoos, and I delivered it to Hearst magazines. And when the editor got it, I mean, it just really, got their attention, because they could just see how much I cared about and how passionate I was. And with the email I sent, it wasn't like a formal PR email. It was like very heartfelt. And so, that's how I kind of got in touch with the team there about Danielle. And Danielle was like really happy, and she sent me an email back, because I showed her kind of like the pitch that I'd sent, and she had said like, Selena, this email is impeccable. Every like angle, the whole spirit, for the love of God, thank you so much. And so I have like testimonials from people like that all the time, where they're emailing me and thanking me. And so when I was putting together my website, I was like, hey, Danielle, could I use like these 2 sentences? And she was like, of course. And so that's how that happened.
Wow, that's amazing. It's incredible.
Thank
Good
you.
for you. Congratulations. So that's great, and that's a really important topic that I wanted to touch on, is how do you sort of get in with these influencers. But let's talk about networking just from a perspective of networking with your peers a little bit.
Okay.
What are some strategies? Say you're an introvert. I, for instance, am an introvert. Some people may or may not know that, but I am, and I've had to really kind of step outside my comfort zone as I've been growing my business and start to network a little bit more than I had liked to in the past. So what are some tips for people who are introverts? How can they still network in a way that, they feel comfortable and make it work for them?
Yeah. Okay. No, that's really great. Well, first I want to start off, and you know this already, Marissa, but I'm an introvert too.
That's why we get along so well.
Yeah, I know, and people get surprised because, I'm definitely out there building relationships, but I'm not an extrovert at all. But I do choose to surround myself with people who I really care about, and I'm doing things I'm excited about, so I can come off extroverted. But I can totally relate to all the introverts out there, or people that just feel a little bit uncomfortable or fearful of networking. I totally get it. So there's, a few things to keep in mind. The first one is a mindset shift. And I think that a lot of people feel like networking is very transactional. Like you're going out there to find people and meet people so that, you can ask them to do something for you. And it just doesn't feel organic and comfortable. And I get that. And that's not effective networking, which is what we're talking about today. You want to be connecting with people in an authentic way. So, when I think about networking, I'm like, that's my favorite thing to do, because I think of networking as just helping people, so connecting with people that you feel really excited about, where there's synergies, and just being somebody valuable in their life, just helping them, connecting with them on an emotional level. So I think if you shift your mindset, where networking is just about connecting with people that, are interesting to you and just giving, then, it becomes more comfortable. There's not so much pressure. So that's step number one. I guess, number two, as introverts, is that we have limited energy. So being around, people all day long, it's going to drain us at a certain point. And, we both live in New York City. So we know that there are like, five different events that we could go to every evening. And so I think it's important to be a little bit selective because we can't go to every event. And honestly, if I'm going to an event and I don't know, I'm just not feeling it and I don't feel like talking to people, I'm not going to force myself to network. Like, I know people say, like, make sure to talk to 3 people or 5 people. If I'm just not feeling it, I'm not going to force myself to do it. And I think the third thing is that when you are connecting with people and really adding value to their lives, less is more. So with the Danielle Laporte example, I mean, I was like super excited. I did so much. And, you can only do that for so many people. You can't connect with 30 people and put that level of energy into it. So I think I think the 2 biggest takeaways are that networking is about giving. That takes the pressure off. And that as introverts, you don't need to do everything. Just pick a few events or a few people that you're excited about and just focus on developing really deep relationships.
Yeah, I like that. I like those tips. That's my approach as well.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah. So, as you know, we have a Facebook group, and many of us network online as well as offline.
Okay.
With YFE NYC. And tell us, like, what are some ways that people can add value online? I mean, I know there's certainly this temptation to go into a Facebook group and just post your special offer or post about
Right.
an event that you're doing. What's a good way to approach online networking, especially when you're posting in online groups or maybe on Twitter or Facebook? How would you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, with all of us being entrepreneurs, we started our businesses because we want to help people and we have something to offer. So I think it's certainly fine I mean, you should be promoting yourself online. But at the same time, if you're just kind of showing up in these chat rooms just to promote and market your services, then you're not really connecting with people. So I think, I wouldn't really call that adding value. Yeah, so I think that for me and for a lot of my friends, like Facebook is so much fun because we're all connected to different entrepreneurs. Whether they're your friends or not, you could just add them or follow them. And everyone is doing cool things, right? Everybody is launching a new product or a program, or they've got exciting announcements, or they're in the media. And so I just feel like Facebook is so much fun because I'm just cheering people on all day long and reading about their updates. So I think just engaging with people in that way where you're liking their status updates, commenting. If there's someone that that you really care about that is launching something or has a big announcement, sharing that with your audience. A lot of people, I mean, just if you're an entrepreneur, you're looking to increase your visibility. You want more people to know about your products and services. And, in today's world, each of us is actually a media channel. It's not just, we don't need to just rely on like Forbes magazine. Most of us have networks of, 5,000 or 1,000 plus people online who are watching our updates or newsletters. So I think that you can really use your social media platform to really promote people that you care about.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of, while you should be promoting yourself, it's also so fun and it feels so good to promote other people as well. So not just talking about yourself online all the time, but also sharing updates from other people, or if a
Yeah.
friend or someone that you respect or admire has a great media placement or has a
Mhm.
cool event going on, to share those updates as well with your network. That can be,
Yeah, and speaking of
yeah.
connecting with influencers or peers, if you're engaging with them on Facebook, they're noticing you. If you're liking their status updates, if you're sharing their content. And I think a lot of times people think like networking is like I have to set up a whole bunch of meetings. I need to reach out to this stranger and be like, "Will you have coffee with me?" And and I think at the back of people's minds they're like, "Okay, well, and does this person want something from me?" Or it's not even really clear what's going on. And every entrepreneur I know, doesn't matter what level they're at, they're busy. They're very busy. And Facebook is a way where you could just hop onto Facebook and connect with someone, just spend a few minutes online and be promoting their work. And it would have perhaps an even bigger impact than, meeting up with them 6 weeks later and scheduling a 2-hour lunch. So it's actually a very efficient way to connect with people.
Yeah. And how about Twitter? Any tips for Twitter?
Um, yeah, I have mixed feelings about Twitter. I mean, in terms of the cons, because I don't spend that much time on Twitter, I think that, for me, it's more valuable to get like a newsletter subscriber than a Twitter follower.
Hmm.
But it is a good way to connect with influencers and have conversations with people. And I actually connected with a former writer at Elle magazine on Twitter, where I was, following her updates, and she mentioned something about like, oh, it's been such a long day, I need to work out. And I just tweeted back like, I'm going to be working out too, or I don't know, something. And she looked at my bio, and I think she found my Twitter bio interesting. I also I write for HuffPost and Forbes, and she messaged me back, and she was like, "Hey, let's like get together for coffee or a drink." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, of course," because I had been following this person for about a year. She's kind of a big deal, so it was really exciting that we got together, and that would have only really happened on Twitter.
Right. Yeah. I've had similar experiences on Twitter. I think I look at Twitter, I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm so engaged on Twitter. But I've had experiences where people have been following me, or I follow people who someone else follows, and then someone will see me and recognize me. It actually just happened yesterday at the 140 conference where
Oh,
someone
cool.
recognized me from Twitter, and then we were able to meet in person, and it was so cool. And now we have that relationship. Both online and offline. So that was
Yeah.
awesome. That was,
I mean, I think Twitter is a really good place to connect and actually have a conversation with
mhm.
someone. And because, tweets are so short, busy people are more likely to respond to a tweet sometimes than to respond to an email, especially if you're one in 100 emails in their inbox. But in terms of like if you're using Twitter to promote other people's content, less people are likely to see your tweet. So for things like promotion or announcing things, I think Facebook is a better platform.
Okay, great. Yeah. And just wanted to interject for everyone who is on the live stream right now. If you have questions for Selena, please do send those in to us on the chat, and we'll be sure to try to get to as many as we can. Also, if you hear something that you think is cool and you want to share with your network, make sure you do make sure you're tweeting and Instagramming from with the hashtag YFENYC. So. Moving on, I have some other questions for you, Selena.
Okay.
Um, you've talked about helping out some entrepreneurs and doing some publicity services for them. When should you help someone out of the goodness of your heart, and when should you be charging for those services?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a little bit different for each person, but I think, like, for example, let's see, like if someone were trying to connect with Chris Carr and they had something valuable to offer her, I'm just going to make something up, like
Okay.
photography services or video services. It would
Mhm.
take a really long time to get in front of Chris Carr and have her hire you out of like, I don't know, like several dozen other options. But if you just show up and add value and you're like, I noticed that, your website is this way. I have, a few ideas of things you could do differently that would really, help increase your newsletter signups. I'd love to help you with that. Or, I have a few ideas. Can I share them with you? Then, of course, the person's going to be like, yes, because you're just offering value. And then, you can help people in that. So I think with influencers, typically, if you're really just like, because sometimes there are people that you just care about so much. You're like, you don't even care about the money. It's just you want to be a valuable person in their lives and help them. And if that's how you're really feeling, then I would say just go ahead and do it. But again, like I said before, there's only so many people we can help in that way. So you just want to think about who do you genuinely care so much about that you don't even care if it goes anywhere, or even if you help that person and they don't do anything to help you back, it doesn't even matter because it was rewarding for you to help. I think in those situations, yeah, you should help. And then there's other situations where, maybe you really do need to be bringing in money into your business. And I think that, you can do things like have an initial conversation with someone where you're not charging and doing things like that. But then if they want your help over the long term, and for like if they're looking for a health coach, you could have one conversation that could be super valuable. But like, we all know that for someone to get results, that happens over time. And so if people are looking for consistent support and help, then it absolutely makes sense to let them know about your offerings.
Okay, very cool. Thank you. that
You're
is
welcome.
that's helpful because sometimes I think as entrepreneurs we get so excited about what we're offering, and there it can be it can be kind of there's a gray area on where do we really, we do need to make money. So
Yeah.
how do we separate the two? So that was great.
Yeah, and I think it's really just about language because I think people
Mhm.
feel very uncomfortable with sales and they feel like if I'm asking someone for money, then it's like as if it's a transaction. I don't really, if I'm just helping them for free, it might just, it's more like a goodness from my heart type thing. But actually, if you're charging someone, you're also doing it from the goodness of your heart. I mean, I think of all my entrepreneur friends, they don't take on clients unless they think that they can help them. They're
Right.
not just doing it for the money. And so I think, when you talk to people and you help them, it'll reach a certain point where it's like, I've really loved working with you and I want to help you more. And you've shared that these are, your goals. And I think that if we work together over, a 3-month period, we can make this happen, or we can really make significant progress. Do you want to hear about my offerings or or ways I could help you over the long term? And then people, of course, say yes. And then you give them your offerings. And I think that's I think that's a normal thing to do. In some ways, if you don't tell them about your offerings and how they can work with you, then you're almost doing them a disservice because that might be what they need the most.
Mhm. Okay, so how about talk? Someone wants to hear a little bit more about the editors that you have befriended at Fortune and Entrepreneur and Glamour. How have you turned them into friends and mentors? I know that you did mention something about the editor at Elle on
Yeah.
Twitter. Do you have any other specific examples of things that you've done?
Yeah, I think, one thing that we need to remember are that people are just people. And it's important. So that's one thing. It's important to stand out too. So I think a lot of people, when they're connecting with influencers, they start feeling like very nervous and they're not really being their normal selves. And when I meet people from these magazines, a lot of them are also just, women my age who are in their, late 20s or early 30s. And as I get to know them, I mean, I just have a conversation with them like a normal person about, what their workday is like. At some point we'll probably end up talking about relationships. So that really moves like a business conversation into the personal. Or I'll be like, or I might invite them out for drinks and I'll be like, drinks are on me, or I'd love to get to know you better. Can I take you out? I might invite them to something with a group of friends. I have a friend in particular I'm thinking about who she used to be at Glamour and then 17 and now she's at Self Magazine, and she sent me an email and she was like, Selena, or she sent a mass email actually, and she was saying, I'm looking for freelance writers to write career and money stories and also relationships. And if you know anyone great, send them my way. And I was just thinking, like, I know all these freelance writers, who would be interested. And my friend Julie, who was at Elle Magazine, is now a freelance writer. So I reached out to Julie and I was like, hey, would it be helpful for me to connect you to my friend Devin at 17 or at Self Magazine? And I did that with all the freelancers I knew. So I was reconnecting with all of my media contacts and offering them business and connecting them to them with someone who could offer them business. So I think it's just if you see a way that you can help somebody, just do it. Don't wait, and then just don't put them on a pedestal, but just interact with them like a normal person. Think about how you would connect with a friend and how you would, add value to a friend, and do that the same thing to, the other people you meet, including people in the media.
So let's see. I think we have one more question, and we have time for like one more question, and then we'll get to. I know there's a program that you're launching in the fall, Selena, that you want to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about. Um, so, how did you open the door to get into writing for online publications from like Forbes and Huffington Post? This question comes from Jackie M. Jensen.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few different ways you can do it, but the truth is getting access to the right opportunities is about knowing the right people. And again, I wasn't born with these relationships or contacts. Most of these relationships I
Mm-hmm.
developed over the past year. So they can be done. But with Forbes, I knew somebody who had written an article for Forbes, and I was sharing with her some ideas I had. And she was like, I think Caroline Howard, the editor at Forbes, would really love them. And so she made an introduction. So that really helped a lot. And then with Huffington Post too, I'd met Ariana before, and so Ariana Huffington, and so she invited me. But I'm trying to think about, I think, you know what? But also, even though somebody connected me, like the emails that I write are very personal. So it's not just like, hey, I would like to write for, Huffington Post. These people are really busy. So, you want to begin with something like, hi, my name is so and so. This is what I do. I'm a huge fan of the Huffington Post, and just something really specific so that it's genuine. And then talk about, like, you might say, like, I've noticed that you've written articles about emotional eating and this, and that they've been really popular. I would love to contribute a similar article to that. And, here's an example of another guest post I've done, or another piece I've written online, so that there's a writing sample. And, if you've gotten a lot of comments or likes, show them that too. But with these online publications, they're looking for writers because the more content, the more advertising space. That is the business model of online media. So if you're like a good writer and you've got content that their audience is going to love, that they're going to engage with, that they're going to share, then they do want you to be writing for them. But it's really your responsibility to let them know how great you are in that first email, not just being like, I want to write for your publication and this is who I am. It has to be a little bit more thoughtful, where you're also showcasing your strengths.
Right. And keeping it short to the point, and showing that you are a reader and that you know your stuff and that you've done your research and that you actually know who you're speaking with on the other end of that email.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So one quick question, just to wrap things up.
Okay.
Tashi McCoy asks, when networking, it's sometimes easy to lose track of all the people I meet, even when I collect business cards. How do you keep it all together?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is a really important question. When I meet someone, I pretty much immediately add them to Facebook. And once they're in contact on Facebook, they see all of my updates. And Facebook and LinkedIn too. They're both really important. So usually I do that immediately. That's one of those items that people put off sometimes, but I just understand how powerful it is to be building your network and connecting with people. So whenever I go out, I've got business cards. Number one priority is connect with them online, so that it's not just like a hi and bye thing. They've met you once and they forget about you. Once you connect with someone on Facebook, then they're a part of your social media network for life, pretty much. So that's very important. Yeah. And I also have, because I meet so many people, I have like a running document of people that I meet. And so if I don't add them immediately, I have a note to add them, later on that week.
Awesome. So I just want to ask you, I know that you have a a program that you're launching this fall called Get Known, Get Clients. Can you tell us a little bit more about that before we wrap things up?
Yeah, so that's something that I'm going to be announcing in October and launching in September. And this is the first time I've talked about it publicly. So, yeah, thanks for asking. So basically, I just love helping entrepreneurs. Get known and be seen and get clients. I think that people sometimes think, oh, it's going to take me 2 years before my business really gets off the ground, or, I need another degree before I can charge premium prices. And honestly, you can start right away. You can start charging premium prices right away and getting your dream clients, which is what I've been able to do. So I love teaching people that. So about how to position themselves as experts so that when their ideal clients see them, they're very excited and they want to work with them and they're happy to pay, prices that reflect their value. And then the other part is I talk a lot about relationships because as entrepreneurs, it's so important to be connected to other people, colleagues and strategic partners who are going to refer clients to you, influencers who endorse you, the super connectors who will open up doors for you, and speaking opportunities and media opportunities. And it's just, I'm familiar with so many of these business programs, and no one is really talking about networking, which is a little bit surprises me, but that is like my favorite topic. So I go pretty in depth. And I think when people really understand how to do it correctly, they have a very strong competitive advantage. And then the last piece is, now that you have this brand and you're positioned as this expert and you have these relationships, well, how do you make sure that you're actually bringing in money to your business? Because some people just have a lot of friends and people know who they are, but they're not making any money. And so I love talking to people about sales and how to do it in a way where it's very authentic and you're helping people, and also creating offerings that you know, that people are going to love to buy. So that's basically the program. It's coming out in September. So if people want more information, they can just join my list. And I'm also planning a lot of events this summer. I do a lot of fun speaking events and social events. So if people want to come to those, I would love for them to just sign up to the newsletter, because I can let them know about that. And the very last thing is that when it comes to networking, the question that people usually ask me is like, how do I add value? That's like the hardest thing when it's an influencer or a brand new person. And I actually put together like a document, a sheet with 6 simple ways to add value to the people in your network. So if people are interested in that, if they sign up for my newsletter today or tomorrow, but just in the near future, I will shoot them an email with that information.
Very cool. And how can people sign up for your newsletter? Just visit your website?
Yeah, it's www.s2, S is for Selena, S2-group, groupe.com. And they can sign up for my newsletter there. And if people want to shoot me a note just to say hello and let me know about their businesses, or if anything during this interview was helpful to them, I would love to hear from them. And they can email me directly at hello, HELLO, at s2-group with an E at the end.com.
Great. So Selena, thank you so much for your time being on this call today. It's been wonderful to connect with you both offline, and chatting with you today has been a real pleasure. And I'd also want to extend a special thank you to the women who were joining us today live on this call. Please do, like Selena said, reach out to her, connect with her, and also with me as well. And we hope that we will see you at a future live meetup in the future. And then also at another, hopefully we're going to continue to do these online meetups. So when we have another one, I hope that you'll continue to join us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the opportunity, Marissa.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.